We're starting over. It's a remix today. Hey, hey. Yeah. A little extra dance, a little remix, it happens.
Oh, I did mention before the show I was sleep deprived.
Mhm, mhm. It's true.
That's what we get for producing our own podcast. The
I love
joys and the trials of it. I love it. I love it. How are you
Yes,
today, my friend?
I am grateful. How are you doing?
I'm so grateful. Like,
Yeah,
just so grateful. You
yeah,
know, there is a lot that I could fuss about, but you know what? There is so much more good going on. And
yeah.
there is so much that I am just excited about.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know I love when we talk about holding both the grief and the gratitude, right? And so many things have happened this week, and it's like, no, you're not going to take away the excitement that this is happening or this is happening. This is the last day before the first month I'm ever going to be a published author. So I'll never be in this position again. You're not
Right?
going to take that away because something happened at work or something happened and you didn't expect it to go that way. Like everything's still okay, and we're still top 10% in the world. So,
Right.
yeah.
It is.
I'm on
And
cloud nine.
I am always so grateful for you for reminding me of that. Cause,
Yeah.
I've been in the nitty gritty and the details
Mhm.
and sometimes, we get so in the midst of the details that we forget to have that broader perspective and the
Mhm.
joy.
Yeah.
I know we talk about it in Stillpoint. I think it's self-care skill number 4 about having
Mhm.
that broader perspective. And I
Yeah.
know for myself, it is I can really get in there and get into
Mhm.
that perfectionist mode. I mean, we're business partners.
Mhm.
I'm all like, and you're like,
Yes.
wait a
Yep.
second. Take a deep breath. Let's talk about the fact that this is happening, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, and I mean, Manifestation Monday helped me with that. We talked about it even through COVID, talking about the wins and the goals. For me, writing down the goals, writing down the schedule is, okay, what are the details that I need to do, right? We talked about letting go of the last two on your list of five and actually having three things on your to-do list. What is realistic? But then why am I doing these little things? Let's zoom out to the month. Let's zoom out to the quarter, right? We're about
Right.
to go into the fourth quarter. We're about to go into September. What do we need to do in this month that'll help set us up for the catapult of the fourth quarter and then into the next year? So,
Well, and not just about our businesses, but about our
right.
health and our wellness and
Yeah.
our self care and our community care.
Mhm.
Like, what are we needing to do? Maybe to reset, maybe
Yeah.
to continue,
Mhm.
maybe to up level it. Like,
Mhm.
I'm excited about our guest today. I'm
Yeah, me too.
excited about what we're going to talk about
Yeah.
because I think it's an incredible resource for this last 3 months of the year
Mhm.
because we're coming off summer. It's been a really hot summer in most of the United States,
Yeah.
and people are a little tired. People are a little
It'll
worn
do
out,
that. Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And yeah, there's we've talked about the last couple episodes. There's just been a lot. There's been a lot in the energy. There's been a lot in the atmosphere, personally,
Yeah.
in the world, like
Yeah.
all over the place. So how do we take care of ourselves in the midst of it?
Yeah. And that question has been so pivotal. It's not always the same thing that you need. For this summer, I've been
Right?
kitchen manager training. So not only is it hot outside, it's very hot in the kitchen. It's 85 degrees outside of the cook
Oh,
line, and we're the number one busiest in the concept. So it's hot on the cook line. And
right.
so okay, let me make sure I'm drinking my water, but not only today, the day before I get there, and getting rest after that. So looking at that and really seeing, okay, if this is dipping in or going to take a lot of energy, how do I refill it? What do I need? So I got my hair done. I got my eyebrows done, the nails. I got some roses. And we're finally going to do this massage that was scheduled May 10th tomorrow. Okay. So it's been a few weeks, but we're getting there.
Yay. Well, and
Yeah.
it has to be scheduled.
Yeah.
I wish, well, I don't know that I wish that. I mean, sometimes. I wish that my schedule was different where it was just ease and go and flow, but I created how I want to. So
Mhm.
I think the thing is that to make sure we schedule it and have,
Yeah.
whether it's a whole day off that we can
Mhm.
go and do it, or that it's a regular part of our routine. What
Mhm.
are we talking about today?
Oh, so we are actually, let's introduce ourselves first because we have
Oh,
not done that yet. I know it's been 82 episodes, but we still want to make sure that everybody
you never know if
knows.
somebody's listening for the first time.
Hey, I assume that it is the first time, right? So if you're listening for the first time, let's tell you who we are. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial entrepreneur and author. Ooh, I like that updated one. The founder of Shalo Glow, an all-natural handmade personal products company that helps you glow from head to toe. I am a champion for your self-care, business care, and intentional wellness.
Hey, y'all, I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, published author, and
Mhm.
dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Yes, together we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness.
And we like to get together every week and have conversations with ourselves and guests about how to be intentional in business, relationships, and wellness. How do we do
Yes.
this?
Yes. And today specifically, we're talking about environmental wellness to wrap up this season 9. And environmental wellness is supporting your good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that enhance well-being. It promotes interaction with nature and also creating enjoyable personal environments in and
Oh,
out of your workspace. This includes knowing the type of environments you thrive in and having an intentional relationship with these places, including the earth.
Shannon, you have a little bit of a tech glitch.
Okay.
So, would you mind reading that definition for us one more time?
No problem. Let's do it. Okay. Environmental wellness is supporting your good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that enhance well being. It promotes interaction with nature and also creating enjoyable personal environments, both in and out of your workplace. This includes knowing the types of environment you thrive in and having an intentional relationship with these places, including the earth,
Ah, thanks so much.
of course.
Yeah. Every time you read environmental wellness, I always have to take a deep breath. Right before we got on the show, you were showing me what you did to prep your space for environmental wellness. You want to
Mhm.
show our listeners
Ooh.
who are also watching us on StreamYard today?
Yeah, and I'll take all of us through it because I was sniffing the red rose, right? Or whatever color this is. We could talk about genetically modified stuff. I don't know if this is genetically modified or not, but it's beautiful. And so I love looking at beautiful things in my space. And it's interesting. I was thinking about Shalo Glow with the individual products in the kit, and I was wondering, our guests can tell me when they come on, do you guys prefer the individual rose or do you like a bouquet of flowers? Okay, so I decided
Beautiful.
to give myself both in my environment. I have my healing stone, my gem that you gave me for my birthday. What else? I have the glow butter, the new one, the new rebranded product that we'll talk about that went into the movie release kits, and a couple of other things. My mom's bell for victory, and my mirror here because I was gonna do my eyebrows, and looking in the mirror as part of Shalo Glow. So I decided to leave it. Let me look at myself and do my show and get ready for everything we're into as the ninth season wraps up.
I love it. And for
Mhm.
our listeners who are just listening and not joining us live, describe the color on that rose for them.
Ooh, okay. So on the outside, it actually looks a little singed. This might be the darkest color that I've ever seen on a rose on the outside of the petals. Then on the inside, there's a nice yellow color. But the outside of a lot of the petals are also red. So we have a red
Yep.
rose, a yellow rose with the beautiful green of the leaves, and thorns that do cut according to this cuticle on my middle finger of
Oh,
the left hand.
ouch.
Okay. So a little beauty, a little pain, and
And
some
for
good
y'all that are
environmental
listening,
wellness.
Shannon is also wearing a beautiful yellow top today
Thank
that kind
you.
of matches the rose. So
Yeah.
very, like, very aesthetic.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, we had to set the scene.
Right? Especially when we're talking about environmental wellness and that
Right.
our environment does matter. The
Yeah.
environment where we're working, where we're playing, where we're living, and the greater earth, right?
Mhm.
So, speaking of the greater earth, should we invite up our guest and get this conversation going?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. So today, y'all are in for a treat. I think this
Mhm.
may be the first time this has happened on the Women Connected Wisdom podcast, except for our special anniversary episodes. So
Oh,
today we actually have three guests. We have three guests today that are the organizers of the 2022 Global Healers Summit. Summit, not summer. Let me be able to talk today, y'all. And I'm going to call their names and then we're going to bring them up here and we are just going to find out all what they are up to. So
yeah.
today, these ladies are healers, they are spiritual thought leaders, they are just
Coaches.
incredible coaches, and
Yeah.
I just can't wait to dive in and like hear from each one of them because they each bring so many gifts to the table
Mm.
around healing and wellness. So we are going to call up Jody and Rochelle and Anne. We're going to welcome these incredible beings to our stage today.
Hi, ladies.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome.
We are so glad y'all made it.
Yes.
And will you tell us where you are streaming in from and a little bit about yourself? So, Jody, you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you so much for having us on today. My name is Jody Curtis, and currently I'm living in the Mojave Desert in Southern California, just above Palm Springs near Joshua Tree. And I am a reverend of something called the Science of Mental Physics that I discovered when I moved here and began training to its ancient Tibetan wellness practices and breath work that comes from the monasteries of Tibet for thousands of years. So that's something that I've been doing regularly and that I'll be presenting at the upcoming summit.
That's so exciting, Jody. I'm like, ooh, tell me more, but we'll get back to that. Okay, Anne, you want to go?
Sure. So I'm Anne Fernandez. I call myself a spiritual life coach, but over a 50 or 60-year period, you gather so many tools in your basket. It's like, how do I call it one thing, right? So anyway, I came up with rising awareness. If you can see that behind me, so it's risingawareness.com. Um, but I am a Reiki master, clinical hypnotherapist. I've been coaching clients for probably almost 40 years now. Um, I wrote a book that's on Amazon, and I speak whenever people allow me. I speak.
Anne, what's the title of your book?
Oh, okay. You ready for this? Because it's a little different. Because I grew up in an island and we have different lingos. So the book is called Moonlight Pond Wire.
Mm.
Moonlight, and instead of upon, it's apostrophe pond, WIRE. And I came up with the title because I grew up in a small village and a small community, and we didn't have electricity or water, and for a long time. When we got the first street light, everybody ran out in the street and they went, "Look, Moonlight Pond Wire." So
Mm.
there's the title.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Rochelle, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. We are so honored to be invited to be on your podcast. This is so amazing. I call myself an intuitive breakthrough strategist, and like Anne, I've been doing this work for almost 35 years. And so, how do you encompass it into one little title? But my focus has been on energy work. I'm a master qigong practitioner, and also inner trauma release. I have a intensive emotional release strategy that has come to me through Source, and so I use a lot of that in my talks as well as in my healing strategies and working with my clients over the course of so many years. Yeah.
So we have a room full of master healers. I love that. Now, tell us, and I don't know who wants to lead on this, but all three of y'all spoke in 2020 at the Global Healer Summit, and now you're the organizers. So tell us about this summit and this conference and what it's all about.
Well, first of all, we all feel very honored that we are hosting this event because we, as you said, we are, we were speakers, and we had no idea that we would be the hosts at that time. And the organizer, Allison, she was the one she's now Allison Rogers, but she was the one who had this intuitive guidance to bring the three of us together. And we have just enjoyed it thoroughly and have become the best of friends. And we really feel that this is going to be just a magical experience. The Global Healer Summit is bringing together people from all over the world, healers from all over the world. We have 6 keynote speakers, and we have a total of 32 speakers, including yourselves. And this is intended to help each of the people who participate to have an inner experience themselves. Yes, we're giving knowledge, but we're also giving experiences for everybody to have from each speaker that is joining us. So I'll stop there and let someone else add to that.
Well, I want to add before one of the organizers do, because friends of our show know Dr. Sheila K. Collins, who is my co-author of Stillpoint, and she is one of y'all's keynote speakers this year. That's how we got involved. Wow. And so we are excited to be a part of this. Jody, what do you want to add?
Wonderful. Well, I'm just also very excited. And yes, I did not know when we did this in 2020, it had originally started. There was a call out for anybody want to be a founding member of this Global Healer Summit. And I said, yes, I don't know what it is, but I'll do it. And I can do the tech stuff, And so that's how we began doing it. It was an effort then to raise money for an orphanage in Nepal at the time. And so at that time, we brought together a whole bunch of amazing speakers and healers. And I mean, we wish we had 100 spaces because there are so many people that we just didn't, frankly, have the room to bring in. Because this time it was almost effortless. We put out a call and we got a bunch of yeses. Like everybody said, yes, count us in. And then we were booked. And then it was like, okay, we're all systems go now. So we've just been, like you said, it's a process. And the tech stuff has been an ongoing thing because just when you think you have it down, then there's changes that need to be made. So it'll probably be that way up until the day of the event. And that's okay. It is what it is.
It is. But, one of the things that I think is truly a blessing from the pandemic in the last 2.5 years is people have gotten so much more used to technology and virtual summits and virtual conferences. And the fact is that that we can have them and that we can literally learn from people all over the world. When I was looking at your lineup, which is pretty incredible, Dr. Clint Rogers and Sheila and I were at a conference together 4 years ago or 5 years ago. We did, and I hope I don't get the conference name wrong. We were Quantum Leap with Jack Canfield. We were at that conference together. And so fun, like how things circle around and you get to play with people all over the world.
It's so amazing. I love, people complain about technology a lot, but in reality, I mean, this is like a Jetsons world that I dreamed of when I was younger. And all complaints of technology aside, it is phenomenally awesome that we can do this. Every time I get on a Zoom like this and people are talking about, I'm from this part of the world and this part of the world, it just blows my mind that we can do this now.
Well, and we have listeners in China, we have listeners all over the world. And it's just fascinating to me that we can be connected, right? We can be connected in a way that we didn't even imagine when we were growing up. Shannon, maybe, because she's the youngest out of us. But
did I imagine it? That's a good question. I don't think I had gotten to the age where it's, we're not connected to the world and all of a sudden you have access at the tip of your fingers and you're connected. I was the bridge generation where I got my first phone at 14 and in high school because my dad was getting divorced, and it was still a flip phone, and I was hoping that there would be a snake game or something on it. There wasn't social media and international podcasts being streamed to multiple platforms at one time yet.
Amazing.
I think
Yeah.
that was one of the gifts of COVID, really, is that it spearheaded this initial need to get this information, to get contact, to get connection from all over the world, even though because everybody was isolated in their homes, they had to reach out in some way, right?
Yeah.
So that is a
sorry,
blessing.
go ahead.
Yeah.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
fine, Jody. And I was gonna say, and re to refigure it, is it necessary for everybody in the off to be in the office? Is it necessary for Christine and I to meet each other at 3 a.m. to get to the airport to fly to California so we can all sit together when we can save time, money, and energy and just be on StreamYard? I love that.
Hold up. Not 3 a.m., but yes, a trip to California.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
can still take
We
it.
got
I'm down
friends
to.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
And
Well,
we
well,
haven't heard your voice in a minute.
Well,
Jump
I'm
in
going
here.
to speak to what you just said, and then I'll take a couple steps back. So this is awesome, and for me, not a techie person, but all of a sudden, all my coaching was online, so I had to learn, I had to figure it out. But I will still say, I love whenever I get the chance to be in person, to hug people, to look them right in the eye. I love that physical experience. So this is wonderful. I appreciate it. But I do, if I have a preference, that's the direction I'd go in. And speaking of the gift, Rochelle, you mentioned, the gift. And this is what I say to everyone. What was the gift during COVID? And they're like, what do you mean a gift? That was horrible, right? But because I am in nature, I noticed so many families coming up hiking, connecting with each other. It was just a different world during those 2 years. So there was that gift for sure, with COVID. And
Well, when we think about the environmental wellness piece, Anne,
yes,
talking about that today, even though for a lot of people it was hard to work from home, we really had to really look at our environments, like on the
Right.
inside and the outside, like what is working for us and what's not.
right.
Yeah, it
And
was so interesting to experience the animals coming out because there were fewer cars, right? People weren't traveling.
Right.
So more animals, more wildlife was able to come out and be seen and appreciated. It was pretty great.
right. And I want to touch on what Christine just said for a moment, so I don't forget. You talked about the outside environment and the inner, and that was pretty powerful. That was another gift that people were forced to go within, look within themselves, and so thank you for reminding me of that. There was that inner environment too that people had to get in touch with.
And that's what we're really going to focus on in the Global Healers Summit too, is that inner work that we all,
Right.
Have now spearheaded in it during the COVID time. And we're really taking it to the next level during the summit.
I love the diversity.
Mhm.
I mean, the diversity, people from all over with all different types of ideas and healing modalities. Because, and you all know, everybody here, coaches, heals, we all do this stuff. And we know that not everybody resonates with us. Someone might resonate with Christine or Jody or Rochelle or Shannon, so that is what exciting to me about the summit, is that there is someone for everyone.
Mhm.
Jody, can you tell us what people can expect?
Sure. They can expect an amazing experience of a wide variety of healing techniques, tips, modalities. I do believe everything happens for a reason. So the group of speakers that came together is really interesting and different than the 2021 that we did. I just wanted to add one thing about what we were just talking about, because when Dr. Clinchy Rogers had his groups online that I ended up joining during the pandemic, and we would do this and send each other love. And I was I had been afraid to go online. I had been wanting to teach my classes online for years, but I didn't, just because of my fears of it. So of course it forced you on. But what I was so shocked about was you can feel the energy through the screen. I would get emotional when people would do that. felt tears coming. I felt love coming through. I'd have to go off camera. I was like, oh God, this is too uncomfortable, you know? And so what they can expect is experiences and love and connection with a like-minded and like-hearted community online from, you know, all different kinds of places. And I like that we have this, the schedule is on the website so people can look at the presenters' bios and then choose if there's some that they're called to. I mean, you don't have to be on from 8 to 3 every day. The recordings will be made available after the event. And so we have herbalists, we have healing with music, we have Sheila K. Collins talking about the art of grieving, and just so many different speakers. Do you guys want to talk about some of the other topics that we have, or do you want me to keep going?
No, sure. That sounds great, Jody. Thank you so much. Tell us what your topic is going to be.
Me?
Yes, of course.
Oh. So I'm teaching my ancient Tibetan breath work, and it's called Breathing Your Way to Health. And, you know, this is the breath work that after I experienced stage 4 lymphoma and was completely down and out, it's interesting because my dad had just died of COPD, not being able to breathe. And I was just guided out here to the middle of nowhere in the desert and found this ancient work that actually reinvigorates your entire endocrine system. And so for me, that's what I did. I got my body in the, you know, back in order hormonally, and was able to have a baby naturally at 41. So I get excited to share this work with people. It's been around for thousands of years, like I mentioned, and it's really powerful work. So anytime I can share that, I really like to. What are you guys going to be sharing?
Well, I'm going to be talking about Manifest Your Destiny. It's entitled, and it's the 4 R's to unleashing your emotional freedom. And it is going to be laced with a lot of deep inner work that will bring forward past traumas and actually finally be able to release them. So that's my topic. And we have some amazing other speakers. I would like to just highlight our keynote speakers if I could. And I know you talked about Sheila. We have Gary Malkin, who is our 7-time Emmy Award-winning composer, and he's going to be providing an amazing topic. I don't have his title in front of me, but it's incredible. And Peter Sterling is a world-renowned harpist, and he's going to be providing his spiritual guidance through the frequency of the harp. And he has been downloaded all kinds of information from source with regard to that. And who else? We got Clint G. Rogers talking about love and how it is the healing force of the world. And who am I missing?
We have Dr. Smita Naram and her son, Krishna Pankaj Naram. So they, along with Dr. Pankaj Naram in India, founded many Ayurvedic clinics called Ayush Shakti. And they personally, during the pandemic, this is when I met Dr. Clint, and we were getting online, and I learned about these, I learned more about Ayurvedic healing and started implementing it in my own life. But they have treated, in their clinic, they heal 600 people a day. She's a detoxification specialist. And so a lot of times they'll get people that, you know, have gone through the Western system, and then they go home to, like, that's all we can do for you. They get those people and they heal those people. And so she has worked with the Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa, presidents, kings, just an unbelievable list of people that they've worked with. And I think now they have at least 108 clinics around the world. I'm just very excited.
This lineup is incredible.
She and her son Krishna, they're just truly amazing people, and talking about that energy coming through the screen, like you'll feel it from all of these people. Yes. They're very dynamic presenters as well as powerful healers and speakers.
And so, Anne, what are you talking about?
Well, first, I just want to add that I believe 100% that people who get on the Global Healers Summit will walk away with tools that they can apply to their everyday life. And to me, that's the key. Whenever I speak or do anything, it's like, have I given you tools that you can use to actually change your life in some way? And so I know that's going to happen for sure. But
We
I'm going to
believe in that, Anne, at Women Connecting Wisdom Podcast. We believe in every episode, giving our listeners tools and resources that they
yes,
can apply. So thank
right,
you for that.
sure. So my topic is we are multidimensional beings, and that was based upon my own life experience. And for lack of a better word, I'll say a words, climbing the spiritual ladder, so to speak. And so recognizing that we're not just this physical body, we're not just this in the 3D world. There's so much more, our energy field, and that expands out and we affect other people. So when I discovered that on my own journey, I thought, wow, I can get my questions answered from everywhere or anywhere. If I ask Jody or Rochelle, hey, can you answer this question for me? And they say, I don't think so. I'm like, okay, I'll go over here, go into meditation, go into stillness, and ask the question at that level. So I truly believe that we are multidimensional beings. We live in a multidimensional world, and we have access to everything.
I love that, and that segues me into our final keynote speaker that we haven't introduced, and that is James Gilliland, who is the caretaker for the ESETI Ranch up in Washington. And the letters ESETI stand for Enlightened Contact with Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And so he has been the caretaker up there for over 30 years, and he has communication and has the ability to communicate with the ET world, and he brings ET technology to us through his healing practices. So it's going to be very exciting to be able to hear and work with him as well.
Y'all, this is going to be wild. Like, y'all have got a lot, like you were saying, a lot of different practices, a lot of different people like to come and check out. And my Shannon, my friend and coworker, business partner, she's speaking. She and I are going to be talking. You want to tell them what we're talking about, Shannon?
Yes, we're going to be talking about the 8 dimensions of wellness, So, of course, as you see, 82 episodes, we could spend all day talking about the different dimensions, but we're going to break it down concisely and, just talk about how they overlap, who we are and what we're doing with the book coming out. And so excited to continue it. Like you said, Anna, it's about the energy that you have within yourself, right? Especially as healers, how are we nurturing ourselves? And then how are we taking care of everybody else, especially being
Right.
as connected as we are now compared to how connected we used to be. It takes a different level of intentionality.
Right. And Sheila and I are also going to be doing a pop out around finding and living in the still point based on the book Stillpoint. So I wanted to, Eleanor is listening. Hello, Eleanor. And I saw your comment after we started talking about the presenters, but I wanted to pull up what she said because I think it's really relevant. The power of women connecting through technology has yet to be measured, but it is most certainly raising everyone's level of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
and when you think about how sometimes people are so isolated or they didn't have the accessibility to travel to this conference if it was in person before or meet somebody who's done this work on the other side of the world. Like, I love this. I love that we can literally, with a click of the button, have access to some of the top healers in the world and learn what they do.
Yeah, and I also want to give space to one of our authors, Laurel Ann Stark, because she is working on technology and how it affects female entrepreneurs and the mental and emotional wellness that we deal with the stresses of business and balancing everyday life. So even though there's different things to consider in the research and how technology affects us, we are on our way and
Right.
having headspace in that direction as well.
Well, and her app is called Resurgio, and she's
Yeah.
going to be a guest in a couple of weeks. But absolutely, I mean, I think you're right, Eleanor. Like, it hasn't been measured yet, but we're getting there, and we're starting to have tools that help us. So I think that's delightful.
Yeah.
Can
So
I just, oh, I'm sorry.
no,
Sorry.
no, go ahead, Jody, and then I have a question for you ladies.
Okay, I was just that just brought me to thinking of Allison Maya Rose Rogers, who was one of it's her brainchild, the Global Healer Summit, back in the day when we were, working for the orphans. And she is a femme intuition expert, and her topic is awakening divine feminine. So I think that is what's happening with all of us. We're awakening to, our divinity within, and it's amazing that we have this ability to connect in this way with women all over the world. Thank you for doing this podcast.
Right, exactly.
Well,
Absolutely.
we started it 82 episodes ago because we value connection, we value collaboration. We really want to lift up voices that have been systematically oppressed for years. And we always say it occasionally, but like Shannon, when we were getting ready for this, Shannon was like, "Well, should we include the men?" And we have good men in our lives, and we know a lot of good men, but we were like, yeah, no, they get a lot of airtime. We're going to stick with women connected in wisdom, and really talking what you said, Jody, about awakening that divine feminine and really lifting up those voices. I mean, some of these practices have been around since the beginning of time, but have been silenced or have been forgotten, and so we have the power to bring some of that back. So
I just want to touch on something you said, Kristen. You talk about collaboration, and I have felt that through COVID, and this, some people have a terminology, this raise in consciousness that's happened, and, it's this awareness that's been expanded. It's that collaboration is the key. And so on this leg of my journey, that's my mission, is to support, help, collaborate, join, and allow other women an opportunity to hear, for their voices to be heard.
Yes. Like a rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that.
I want to call attention also, sort of in the similar way, is that the subtitle of our and theme of our Global Healers Summit is aligning with the frequency of health, and frequency is underneath everything. And so when we can open up our frequency, and I guess I'm going to segue into sharing the title of my book, which sort of was the inspiration for this theme, is radiate, change your frequency, change your life. And this applies to all of us. And I love that the women's frequency is being recognized more and more now, because that frequency is the nurturing frequency. That frequency is the true healing frequency. That frequency is the true expression of love. And when we can really feel the love, the healing can happen. So, yeah, thank you for all that you guys are doing to raise that understanding and raise that frequency.
Absolutely.
I am just so delighted to meet y'all. I want our listeners to know we will put the links for the in the show notes. We will put the links to the conference. We will put the links to each of y'all's individual work and your books, because y'all have dropped some books on us. So we love that. That's one of our favorite things on this podcast, is to get new reading recommendations.
Yeah.
So we will put those in the show notes. And Shannon, before we go to our wisdom in action, you have a last question?
Yes. And I know that we have this conversation a lot, right? This is what I do for everybody. This is how long I've been doing it. And we know, as we plan our book release and our conference, that it takes a lot, right? It takes a lot out of you. So my question for you ladies is, what do you do for your environmental wellness that makes it so that you can sustain the work that you do for everybody and the space that you hold, especially doing events as big as global summits and books and dealing with health concerns and things at the same time?
I'll go. I really enjoy having my space in order. For me, if my space is in order, my mind is calm. And it doesn't necessarily need to be fully clean, it just needs to be in order. And massage for me is another thing. I call it my health insurance. If I can actually put it on the schedule, like we were talking about, on a regular basis, to help me stay calm when I feel my energy getting, out of control. And also daily, which I'm working on. Of course, this is always we do our best, but daily meditation, daily movement, like water, walk, breathe, as one of our coaches says, just basics, water, walk, breathe every day, and yeah, the breath work is a big one for me to keep my vibration high and happy.
Absolutely. What about you ladies?
Yeah, I can speak to and mimic some of what Jody has said, because I couldn't survive without my daily meditation for sure. That keeps me calm, that keeps me focused, it keeps me relaxed. And movement activity. My background is physical education, so I'm out there running around all the time with regard to fitness, and now I've really got a pretty strong yoga practice. And I think one of the huge things is mindset, just keeping my mind focused as opposed to allowing it to go all over the place, because we know our mind can sabotage our world if we let it. And so keeping a hold of what's going on in that thinking mind of mine is really significant. So those are my practices.
Well, you forgot one important thing that we both do: trampoline.
Yes, that's true.
Honestly, I recommend every adult have a trampoline.
Yes, I jump and I climb trees too.
Yeah.
So you have like the little exercise one, or do you have a big one?
too.
Yeah, I
Both.
love big. Yeah, I love
I have
trampolines.
both. Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Anna?
So every morning before I even get out of bed, I take a deep breath and I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's how I start my day. And, it's interesting how just that just shifts my perception, the energy for the rest of the day. So that's how I usually start out my day. And like both my wonderful co-hosts here, I meditate every day. I've been meditating for 45 years or so at least. So I meditate every morning and I hike. I love nature. I always tell people nature is your temple. Anyway, I hike every day. So I'm in nature. I talk to the trees. Once in a while, somebody walks by and they see me talking to the trees and they go in the other direction, but that's okay. I because that's where I get downloads. I go by myself on purpose, and during my hike, I get downloads. That's how I wrote my book. That's how I write my talks. It's like in that silence and just being in nature, to me, it's what allows me to live with joy and peace and to understand that everything is connected.
Yeah.
We are all connected. Everything is connected. Anyway, that's my spiel.
I love that, Anne. You saying that reminded me, last week we got to here in Atlanta, we have Interplay Atlanta, and we've been playing together online the last 2 years, and I got to go in person and see some friends that I hadn't seen in 2 years. And it was so fun, what we talked about earlier, like that hug and in person. But what was also interesting is we were at the Shambhala Center in Decatur, and I have tree friends there that when we used to play there on the regular, I would look outside and, we do these practices in Interplay where we're getting embodied, we're getting into our body. And I would always connect with this one tree. And I hadn't realized how much I had missed this tree until we met outside this time. And I was like, oh, there you are. And so you're not our first guest on the show that talks to trees. Probably won't be our last. Actually, last episode, you should listen, because Dr. Amanda Kemp had almost the whole time we talked about talking to trees. It was a great episode. So remembering that we're not just missing our people, we're missing our trees and our land and places we might not have been able to travel to the last 2 years, and that connection in different ways. But
may I share one quick tool, if you don't mind?
Sure.
So I teach meditation at UCLA retreat, and one of the things that I've shared with people is if you go outside for 5 minutes and put your bare feet on the dirt or the grass, that electromagnetic frequency will de-stress you. So if you do nothing else, get up from in front of your computer. And I'm speaking to you, Jody, because you're always on your computer.
I'm a nature girl.
I know you are.
Challenged for the balance.
Yeah. But, just those 5 minutes, bare feet on the ground.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love that you mentioned that, Anne, because I rarely have shoes on. I have my one-on-one clients in my home, so I'm barefooted with a long skirt or something like that on. So the feet are exposed. And then when I'm always outside in the yard with the feet exposed, even in the wintertime, because I clear the yard and at least have a place to stand there in the yard so that I
Wonderful.
can do just that. Yeah, it's vital. It truly is vital. And there's scientific evidence that it absolutely changes our blood
Yes.
Yes.
after about 20 minutes of being on the earth with your feet. Yeah.
Well, I
And by
have a
the way-
grounding sheet and grounding shoes too, because
You took
that's
the
the
words
big
out of my mouth.
you know, like with the rubber on people's soles of their feet, where we used to be connected, even in the Native Americans wore moccasins where they were connected to the earth. And so, yeah, that's the big thing I think that's missing for most of humanity right now, is just that solid time connecting with Mother Nature, you know?
Right?
Yeah, thanks, Jody. I was going to share that because when people tell me, well, I don't have the time to go outside, I'm like, well, great. Go on Amazon and buy those grounding sheets. They do the same thing.
And they do work. They really do. I'm on my third one now.
Yeah.
That's one of my practices, is in between Zoom meetings or in between the computer to go outside and put my feet on the earth. And yeah, it really does. It's incredible. Shannon, you want to set us up for our wisdom in action?
Yes. Okay, ladies. So every week, depending on which category we're talking about, we ask, what is your wisdom in action? So just like the action step that we like to give our guests, what are you doing this week for your environmental wellness? And I'll start. I like what we were talking about earlier about also being intentional about the inside. So as we release this book, as we get ready for the conference and everything else that we have coming, that's what I'm working on. I guess I will call it, let's say grounded from the inside out.
Mm,
I
that.
like that
beautiful.
one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
It's long, but I'll go with it. What about for you ladies?
For me, I'm cleaning out. I am getting rid of stuff, clearing the clutter, making room for more space.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like an ongoing process, but I'm really going for it this time.
I hear you on that.
Yeah, finding the focus. I feel like I've been pulled in a lot of different directions lately, and zeroing in on the focus is going to be really significant for me this week. So
Yeah.
I want to just focus on the focus.
I like
Focus on
it.
the focus. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what just came to mind. There's so many things, but I'd have to say it's sort of a question, but it's something I ask people all the time. What defines you?
Mm.
To just think about what defines you, because we put so much energy onto the outer experiences in our life, and then we believe that as our truth. But that is not what defines us. It's that light within, that energy within each of us. That's what defines us. So when we learn how to peel away the layers of all those life experiences, then we can get to that space. So I guess, what defines you?
Oh, I
I like
like it.
Yeah.
Eleanor says, hashtag Mother Nature is the one healer. It's
Mm.
her wisdom in action. I love that.
Oh,
What
I
about
like
yours, Christine? What's your wisdom action this week?
My wisdom in action this week is going to be get outside more.
Mm.
Before the show, Ann asked us if it was hot in Atlanta, and I was embarrassed to say I hadn't been outside all day, which is not usual for me. I had started the day with a walk, but it is, that was
Yeah.
early this morning. And so I'm going to hashtag get outside more, even in the midst of all these deadlines. So
Yeah.
I think being really intentional about it. So
Yes.
we have to set a timer. Y'all know me, like,
Mhm.
especially when you're doing tech work, like we've been talking. I mean, you can go hours and not look up. So
Christine, you and I have a lot in common,
I
girl.
know we do, my friend.
I'm going to take on your hashtag get outside today, because my inner self has been yelling at me to get
Mhm.
out in nature. And I'm like, but wait, just one more.
Right.
You know?
And Shannon, you don't know this about my friend Jody, but Jody has a labyrinth in her backyard too. So
Oh.
neither one of us have an excuse. We both have labyrinths. We can literally go outside and walk in our backyard.
Oh my gosh, you guys, how funny is that? I have a labyrinth in my backyard too. So here we are.
Oh.
Wow, I have labyrinths. Yeah, that's amazing.
Anna, do you have a labyrinth?
I have a forest.
Okay,
Ah,
a
And my
forest. I'll take
That's
it.
Mother Nature's labyrinth.
Yes,
right,
yes, that'll
right.
work.
Yeah.
That'll work. I
there's a
love that you ladies
forest.
have that
I
space.
have bears. I have all kinds of wildlife that are right in my
Mm,
backyard
Mm.
every once in a while. So I'm
gotcha.
good.
Well, y'all,
Good.
we are about out of time. But before we go, Jody, will you tell our listeners when the Global Healing Summit is and how they
Yes.
register?
Absolutely. It is coming up soon, September 8th, 9th, and 10th. And it's from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific time, give or take a few minutes, depending on the flow. And you can go to globalhealersummit.info to read more about the presenters and their bios. And there's a link on there to register on Eventbrite. So you can register from the website, click on the link, or just go to eventbrite.com and look up Global Healers Summit and get your ticket. It's $44 for all 3 days of fabulous wisdom and knowledge and experiences. And we're really looking forward to meeting new people and sharing these amazing variety of healers and speakers that we have.
And Jody, they also, so heard you say it earlier, but I just want to reiterate. So say I'm busy on one of the days and I
Yeah.
miss a topic. I'm still going to get access to that.
Well, we are going to make it available right after the event for the replay, and
Okay.
we are going to have them available at some point, but we haven't quite sorted that out yet. So
Okay.
it will be made available after the event, but we're just
Okay,
trying to
cool.
figure out the best way
Cool.
to do that. So
I
And the
love
lives will be on the Facebook page. Yeah. The
Yeah.
replays will be on the Facebook page for 24
Okay.
hours. Yeah.
Very
Oh yeah,
cool.
so there's a Global Healers Summit Global Healers community online,
Okay.
private online group that people can join. When they register, they get access to that group, as well as the Global Healer Summit 2022. That's just an updated Facebook page for real time.
Fantastic. Well, we will put all this info in our show notes so our listeners can find it, and it'll be on our social media too, since we're speaking there. And we look forward to seeing y'all. I mean, that's
Yes.
literally right around the corner.
Yeah.
It is. Next week.
Right, like next week.
Exactly.
We got it. We got it.
Yeah.
It'll all work. Well, thank
Well,
you
I
so
look
much
forward
for
to
being
hearing
here.
both of you as well.
We
Yes.
look forward to
Yes.
hearing y'all. This is going to be
Yeah.
delightful. So grateful to be connected and
Mhm.
have this conversation. And we look forward to more. Thank you for your work in the world.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
ladies.
inviting us. This has been absolutely wonderful. We
Yes,
really
thank
appreciate
you
it.
so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
ladies.
You're welcome.
So
So
fun.
excited. Yeah, no, I'm
So
excited.
fun.
Global Healer Summit.
Right? I think
Yeah.
it's going to be delightful. I
Me too.
gotta block out some more time. Like when they started, I hadn't had a chance to look at all the other speakers, and when they started talking about all of them, I'm like, oh, I gotta block out some more time on my calendar.
Yeah.
So it's gonna
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah, we're intentional about that, making sure that we're connected. And I think about even like things I've seen online, right? You don't need more social media followers for your business. You just need better engagement for conversions. And I think about how well do we use the connections that we have, right? You
Right.
heard this expert, that's great. You heard a little bit, you wanted to go back. Did we go back? Did we click on the resource? Did we actually do the wisdom and action and get what we need? So I'm excited about it for those reasons too.
Well, I love that they have a Facebook group too. So I
Yeah,
was thinking, ooh,
I
who
wrote
do
it
I want to
down.
connect with in that
Mhm.
Facebook group? You know me.
Yeah.
I'm like a connector. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, what are we doing
Yeah.
here?
Yep. Yep. And that's why we started it, because
Right?
we do that naturally. I was thinking about it when you were telling the ladies about Manifestation Mondays, and every day I saw you, I said, "Here goes Christine connecting somebody to somebody else, and an amazing resource that I've never heard about, but I need to get it like right now." So it's not just us that do it. We can spread
Right?
across the whole world.
Right? Meet other
Yeah.
super connectors. I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh, super connectors.
Well, my friend, as always, this has been a delightful conversation. Is there
Yes.
anything our listeners need to know before we finish for today?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I just always want to thank you guys for being with us and listening. We are wrapping up season 9, and next week, were you going to talk about the special episode next week?
Well, actually,
Oh,
something our listeners need to know is
mhm,
that tomorrow on
mhm.
September the 1st, they can register for the Women Connected in Wisdom conference that's coming at
Yes.
the end of October. So
Yes.
it'll be in our social media. It'll be in our
Yeah.
show notes. We are excited to have y'all come and join us. It's a free conference, and there is a VIP option, but where you get some goodies and you get all the recordings. But
Yeah.
we're excited to launch this, and fingers crossed after all this talk about technology that it all launches well tomorrow.
Yes. Yes. Everything will happen the way it's supposed to. It'll fall in place. And if it doesn't, your computer's not going to catch on fire. The world won't
Right?
crash. It'll be
Yeah.
okay. We'll live to fight another day.
Right? I love it.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Well, 82,
Yes. 9
that's
seasons.
right. And next week, tell them about the special episode.
Oh, okay. So again, like we said, the book is coming out next month on the 27th. So for our wrap for season 9, we're not just going to go through the 8 dimensions and what we talked about this season, our amazing experts and guests that we've had. We're also going to have some of our ladies back on, some of our normal guests that we have, some people who we've had a couple times, some people who you may have only talked to once, but they're going to get an opportunity to tell you a little bit more about their chapter. And I can't wait. I don't think I've ever read a book where I've laughed, cried, felt motivated at the same time. And I think I've said this already, but if I were to have written it all by myself, I would have said a lot of the same things. But I love the personal stories that are related to it. I love how we're all in alignment, like we're talking about the alignment of the frequency that you need to heal.
Mhm.
So yeah, come listen to the stories, get plugged into the resources, and we're gonna have a ball.
Yeah, and meet a few of our authors because a couple of them
Yeah.
y'all haven't met yet. So it's going to be
Mhm.
pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Things are happening this fall.
Yeah, they
Things are
are.
happening.
Yeah, they are. Thank you so much again to our guests for wrapping up episode 82 with us with the Global Healer Summit. And we will see you guys live next week for our special episode. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. We'll see you next.